Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from around the world, talking with makers from around the world. Here's Jamie Page, Steve Twidell, Chris Cute, and now your host, Richard Morley.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is, wherever you're listening. Joined with me, as always, Mr. Chris Cute.
How are you doing?
And Mr. Steve Twidell.
Evening.
And he's probably got some stories to tell us. It's Jamie Page.
Hello.
Very, very quickly, I'm going to go through the shout-outs and thank yous. These are going to be from YouTube over from last week's video, the post-production video, not the live video, because we'd be here all night talking about people that have been chatting to us on the live show last week. So they are Andrew McQuillan, Harneal Media, Jim Dockrell, Anna B's Workshop. We love Anna. And Gordon Aitchinson. So thank you very much. We do like it when you get in touch, comment on the videos, and basically make us feel good about ourselves, because after all, that's what social media is for. As always, this evening's podcast is brought to you by our good friends, Yorkshire Grits, Chad from Mancrafting, Pound from Highland Boxes, and also Harneal Media, who sorts out all our internet-y type stuff and servers and computer, blah, 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 as everyone tunes out. If you want to find out more about our sponsors, then head on over to our website. That is makersinternationalpodcast.com/sponsors. And there is loads of stuff going on over there, including our t-shirt campaign for the Makers Rhapsody t-shirt. And also, Jamie, do you want to tell us about what else is on there? The huge humongous thing?
Yeah.
The giveaway, mate.
Jamie,
Giveaway.
the other thing.
I think that's the other website.
I blatantly know that when I'm doing the intro, everyone just falls asleep, and then you should have seen the Jamie rabbit in headlights, like what?
Yeah.
Chicka wow.
That's the huge giveaway I think you're talking about, Richard.
Yes, because I actually have already said that.
The huge giveaway we've got going on at the moment. It ends on December 22nd, midnight UK time, and it's a one winner takes all, and you got a chance to win a tub of Yorkshire Grit Original, a tub of Yorkshire Grit Microfine, a couple of hybrid blanks from Pam from Highland Boxes, a custom marking knife from Alex 2Q, some mother of pearl inlay from Mr. Scott Grove, and a custom podcast tumbler from Chad at Mancrafting.
Also awesome.
So all you got to do is go over to the website, like Richard just said, makersinternationalpodcast.com. At the top of the page, go to huge giveaway and go down to the Glee map and fill out all your details. And there's 6 ways to enter, and you can return every day for an extra entry.
And it ends on the 22nd. And if you don't do it, then we're keeping these prizes, and we'll be happy about that too. So,
believe me, there's 325 entries already. So, yeah, and not one from me, because I'm nice like that. Whereas Chris has got a lot of entries.
I got one, and that was by mistake.
I do not. But I would like to... Oh, shut up, Jamie.
just set up some like fake profiles.
Yeah, right. yeah, I'll set up 400 of them so I can give people thumbs down and they won't know who I am.
Makers International Podcast does not condone making clone copies of accounts.
No, at all.
Yeah.
But on that note,
especially to dislike people's videos.
Yeah.
Chris, do we have any random listener questions from the previous week?
No, yes, we do, but I'm not going to ask them today. I invented my own questions. Is that okay?
So
I'm confused now. Do we or don't we have any random questions?
We do, but I'm not going to. But I'm going to save them for the next few weeks, if you don't mind.
Oh, right. I do follow.
Let's just go with yes.
Okay, so moving swiftly on.
Okay. Yes, Richard, we do. One of our listeners, Chris, by the way, is his name, wants to know.
He sounds like a right idiot. I bet he's got a massive workshop.
Yeah, this guy's insane too. I mean, what an idiot. But okay, seriously though, seriously, today is December 9th. When this comes out on Wednesday, it will be December 12th. Just wanted to prove to you I could count. So the question is,
Well done.
do you thanks, Steve. Do you guys have your Christmas decorations up yet?
Yes.
Richard?
No.
Yes, I do.
Steve?
No.
Neither do I. I don't either. Well, let me ask you this, because there's another question. I mean, because here in the States, it's kind of a thing. I don't know if that it's a broad-based thing, but I wanted to ask, does your family have a date as to when decorations are allowed and not allowed? I mean, because normally people will say not before this date, blah, blah, blah. Do you guys put up decorations only after a certain date? I mean, this is obviously a very individual thing. In the States here, most people usually wait till after Thanksgiving, which would be Black Friday here in the States, before they will let their significant others begin to pull out the Christmas trees and things of that nature. Do you guys have a date that you won't put decorations up before, or I'm just curious? I mean, when did yours go up, Jamie?
I mean, over in my family, it kind of varies. We wait a little bit later on in the year, but this year in particular, my sister's actually moving to Australia, and she's actually going over to Australia for Christmas this year. So we had to, and so she wanted all the decorations up because we had a family dinner and all that lot today. So that's the reason why the decorations went up early this year.
Got it. So it was a special occasion this year.
Yeah.
Richard, is it just whenever you were in the mood, or do you have like a specific time? Like not before this, but okay after that?
No, we don't have a specific time. When I was growing up as a kid, Mum would always put the Christmas tree up, and it would be decorated on either the Friday afternoon after we got back from school, when we would break up for the Christmas holidays, and then obviously they come down 12th night, or the day after. But now what Kat does is she actually goes to, and I didn't even realize that these things existed, a Christmas tree farm. And what you do is you turn up at the farm and you get your little bag of Christmas tree feed, and you walk around, and there all the little trees are kind of in their little paddocks and their pens, roaming free with the mummy trees and sort of suckling away under the lamps because it's cold. And you pick your Christmas tree, and then you go back later and collect it. So that what they do is she takes the kids over to pick the tree, and then at a later date, when it's basically convenient, I go back and with Kat, and we collect the tree. So the day after that happens, whenever that is.
Have you guys? I don't, because I know there's a lot of places up here in the Northeast in the United States that allow you to go out into like basically what is a Christmas tree farm. If you can think of an orchard, it's kind of like but it's just a lot of land that has a whole bunch of freaking pine trees that are growing, and they have. I mean, obviously, Christmas trees probably to get to the size of a Christmas tree that you would think of 6 feet tall. It's a couple of years, so they have allotted plots, and each year the plot changes because the trees have obviously grown to the height. Have you ever gone out and cut your own Christmas tree down?
No. We do have a real tree though.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Officially, no, I haven't.
But
Steve,
have you ever had? See, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a neighbor that had a problem because the top of their pine tree was maybe gone?
We actually, in the Twydale household, we have an annual tree hunting day, where we go out and we select a tree to shoot, and gather the tree and bring it home for the children to enjoy over the Christmas period.
So you actually go Christmas tree hunting?
Yes.
And throughout the rest of the year, he hangs it from his rear view mirror.
It's all totally legal.
Okay.
Are they free range trees that you hunt, or are they like the tethered
They
ones?
are, and I tell you, they're quite easily to hunt because they don't run very fast either.
But surely, I mean, they must be pretty difficult to spot if they're like hiding in the woods and stuff.
You can't see the tree for the woods.
Nightmare.
So it's a long hunt, but you come home with one eventually.
Yes.
All right. I was just curious as to how.
Actually, more times than not, we come home with the top of one.
But you leave the bottom?
Yeah, but we see because the
Gotcha.
person that might own them doesn't look up. You see, it's just.
The farmer, the tree farmer.
But anyway,
That's just a
moving
really
on.
big. That's just a really big ladder to be carrying around. And
I'm a good climber. I've become quite a seasoned climber over the years.
oh, that's friggin' hilarious. Okay. I was just curious as to how people prepare for the holidays. I didn't know if we were any different than anybody else, but
What do you do, Chris?
well, apparently we are different because we always wait until at least after Thanksgiving, and then it takes us a week to get off our rear end to get. And no, I have no Christmas decorations up yet, but we will have them up because, my son is coming home. My son's in college, and so before he gets home, the house will be decorated. So my wife has earmarked it for next week. And I should also mention that my wife isn't going to be around next week, which I have a funny feeling is why she earmarked next week for Christmas to happen. So in other words, yeah, it's all on me. I get to do all the Christmas decorating this year, which may or may not be a good thing, depending on how much I've had.
Nick Zametti puts his back up in March.
Oh, does he really? I have a friend.
He doesn't take them down.
I'll tell you something. I've got a good friend of mine who does a Christmas show in radio, and he does it for the Armed Forces Network. And it's a 12-hour Christmas show that he produces every year. And this guy, and I'm not lying to you, loves Christmas like nobody I've ever met. He has a Christmas tree up in his house all 12 months of the year. There is not a month. His house is always decorated in Christmas decorations. So he never has to worry about taking them down and putting them away. He has it up all year. And I think he does it because of the show he does, because he actually records the show in August, September, and then releases it, in December for the Armed Forces. So I don't know.
Really, does he really love Christmas, or does he just say that to everyone that goes around his house? And because he's, I'm not lazy. I just really like Christmas. I like it so much.
No,
I have to have them up all year round. Not that I can't be bothered to keep taking them up and putting them down, packing them away.
He's actually
spending days trying to work out which one of those lights doesn't work.
He actually does love Christmas that much. He leaves it up all year long.
The Red Smith out in the chat said Chris hides a Christmas tree in his shop so the kids of the neighborhood can go on a Christmas tree hunt as well.
Oh, right. God, I wish I had the shop you guys think I do. I really wish I did, but I don't. But whatever. It doesn't matter how often I say it. You guys are going to persist with that.
Yeah,
I take my time in putting the decorations up in my house for one reason and one reason only. More times than not, my wife packs the Christmas decorations away because I'll be back to work because I work school hours. So I'd be back to school by the time the decorations come down. So my wife doesn't take any time about putting the decorations away. It's like and up into the attic. So when Steve comes round the next year to take them out, it takes him 5 hours to untangle the lights and to find the top of this bauble that's actually at the bottom of the box, and to get all the bits that she's just yanked off the tree. In fact, there was one year I found half the tree in the box with them. So I always take my time putting the decorations up because I know what an absolute freaking nightmare it is to put them up.
I tell you what we did once.
You might want to switch
when
jobs.
we used when we had an artificial tree, was we actually left all of the decorations on the tree and just wrapped it in cling film or saran wrap.
Did you really?
When I was a student, this would have been the Christmas of 2000, the end of 2000, going into 2001. I'd never had a real Christmas tree. It'd always been like the fake wire and tinsel plastic trees. But this year, one of the lads that was living with us in the house, he'd always grown up with like the tradition, you've got to have a proper tree. And I just had no interest in it because I just looked at it and I was like, in 3 weeks' time, the tree's going to be dead. Pine needles are going to be on the floor. It's a small student house. As messy as it is, I don't want anything to do with that tree because, it's just a job I do not want to do. So I said, you can go and get a tree, absolutely fine. I've got no problem with it, but you're the one getting rid of it because, you know, I don't want anything to do with it. Yeah, no worries. So he went out, he paid some ridiculous amount of money, got the tree was so tall, it was kind of bent over at the top to get it in the ceiling, you know, that sort of thing. Looked like Santa's hat because it was like bent over with the bauble on the end.
By the way, Steve House just did that. I saw his post on Facebook earlier. He just went out and bought a tree that is like touching the ceiling of his. Anyway, go ahead.
So Christmas, but of course, no one had actually stopped and thought that we'll get the tree, and then we're all going to go home over Christmas, and there's going to be nobody in the house from like the beginning of December all the way through to about halfway through January. There just won't be anyone in the house, so the tree won't get watered. It won't get looked at for the entire Christmas period. So we had to have this tree in the house like stupidly early for about 2 days, and then nobody looked at it. So we came back in January, looked at this tree, tree's dead. It's like, not going anywhere near that tree. And it got to the point in April when somebody went, we really should do something about this tree. And everyone's like, no, ain't happening. Because it's just going to, and literally all he did was he opened the window.
Yep.
Like a big casement window, pushed it over, grabbed the top of this tree, not even through using the trunk, like the top of the tree. So all the branches are doing that, aren't they? Pulls the tree by where you put the star through the window. All the branches go, and every time they go through it, you go. It was like a bunch of flechettes flying across the living room. Everything was covered in bloody pine needles. And for the rest of the time we lived in this house, there were pine needles everywhere. You couldn't not have shoes on because it'd be worse than walking over Lego. It's absolutely horrendous.
Oh, dear.
So, you've got to think it through. That's the thing.
I thought I'd be clever one year and cut my tree into pieces as I was taking it down and put it into the open fire. Don't ever do that, anybody.
Do not do that.
That is one scary second thing to do because the fire just goes like a furnace.
It burns really fast, but oh boy, is that a big fire.
Oh my God.
In case you haven't noticed, pine trees burn really, really well, but they only
really fast.
Only a short period of time, and they go up like a torch. Yeah, it's like, no, you don't want to do that. I did that in my backyard for years, Steve, because we always had real trees, and I would take the tree down, I'd put it in the backyard, and I would just throw the tree out in my fire pit and just go poof.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and this thing is like an eruption. I was like, and I got scared because I live in kind of in the woods, and so I'm wondering if it's going to catch the other trees on fire. Yeah, I stopped doing that after like the second year. It's like, that's just not a good idea.
Yeah, very scary.
Anyway, Richard, those were we've just killed almost 20 minutes on the stupid Christmas question. Let's you want to get down to your stories?
Yeah, because obviously we've been telling stories to each other, not just for the last 20 minutes, but also about the last hour. That wasn't the original idea of the topic. It's just literally the way it happened. Chris isn't on Instagram or anything like that, but everyone's on social media, and all the social media platforms now, thanks to, was it Snapchat that started off stories? Or was it some other? It's one of the social medias had stories, which
Bebo.
Was it? I have no idea what I think it actually started with Keek, because stories are very similar to Keek, but
MySpace.
That's a different story. So are you guys aware that YouTube now has brought out YouTube stories?
Yes.
I'm not.
So anyone out there?
I am now.
You are now. So anyone out there listening live and in the live chat, and anyone listening later on, YouTube has brought out stories, and I'm guessing that it's to kind of go along with Facebook stories, who went along with Instagram stories, who reportedly stole it off somebody else, and that's by the by. So my question was, and what I wanted to sort of talk about around was, do you use stories? Have you been using YouTube stories since they came out in the last week, 2 weeks or so? It's quite a recent thing. Do you have stories on your account? Because I don't think they're open to everyone at the moment. And if you are using them, how do you use them? If you haven't got them, have you seen them? What do you want to see? How do you think it might kind of transpire and be used?
Well, Richard, let me ask you a question. Is this because I only access YouTube on my computer, the one that I'm talking to you on today.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen any kind of notification that stories are available. Is this something that you use with a, excuse me, with your phone app, or where are these stories available? Because I haven't seen anything about them.
Yeah, so YouTube stories certainly are they're
I see
mobile,
it, Jamie.
exactly the same as. Let's just put Jamie up on the screen, Jamie. So yeah, you can see that. Look, is that an iPhone? That looks like iPhone. Giving on there. So if you head onto your mobile app, open it up and hit the subscriptions tab. Obviously, you get the thumbnails and the recent videos from all your subscribed channels. Right at the very top, there's a list of who you're subscribed to. And then on the left-hand side, if they've got a red circle around them, they will be stories put out by that channel. And that's basically how Instagram stories are seen and work. Chris, but you wouldn't know. But
well, yeah. I mean, guys. I mean, besides the kidding around we do about me not being on Instagram, I'm oblivious to all this. So you're gonna have to explain this to me. I apologize, but you will.
Sure. So if you want to make a story, well, if you want to look at a story, it's only on your mobile app, and all the video is in portrait. So it's vertical video, not horizontal video like you'd watch like this video if you're watching it on your phone. And they're, I don't know how long they are. They're like 20, 30 seconds maybe. I'm sure there's an official length of time.
On Instagram it's a minute, is it? I don't know.
I don't honestly know how long it is on YouTube. It's not quite as long, but you do get all the kind of the links and the tabs and like the little kind of little picturey things that you can add, just like basically the same as it is on Instagram. But if you have stories available to make yourself, if you go up to the little camera plus icon where you would create stuff like create a post or create a live video from your mobile, you should have video, live, post, and also story. So then you click on that and then it just looks like it is on Instagram. So you record your video in whatever.
Well, as soon as you click on story, you're automatically recording, and then you're limited to the time that you can do it. So you should be prepared. I mean, I don't quite understand.
Right. Okay. So when you record your story, you get a limited amount of time, and what you have to do is you use like I was like trying to talk to my dad, telling him how to operate a camera phone. It's like, what? Well, I'm on my phone, a camera.
Hey, look, there's a limited amount. I understand a limited amount of people who will not get this, so I'm asking questions that they would ask. So this becomes completely understandable. And if the rest of you are going, "Oh, geez, God, Chris, grow up," I'm sorry, but
No, that's absolutely fine. But I'm not going to, miss the opportunity to take the mickey, Chris. So just
no, it's all right.
To let you know. So yeah, so if once you go hit your stories thing, and this I think works on, or is the same on Instagram and Facebook and that, you get like the cameras working. So if you tap the button, it takes a picture, which you can then post, or if you hold it down, you get like a little red. Let me. What I can do? Hang on. Let me just.
Well, my question was, Richard, is when you hit these stories,
yeah,
and apparently, people who are familiar with Instagram and doing the stories on Facebook, things of that nature, when you hit go live, I mean, Instagram limits you to what you say is 60 seconds. This one may be less than 60 seconds, so you should obviously be prepared to do your quick story and say what you want to say. So this is like a one take thing that you're doing and just kind of sharing.
It's not. That's the thing. It's not a one take. You can actually, so you can record your video, and then what always happens to me is you get to the end and it stops recording because you run out of time, but you've still got. You might be surprised to hear this, that I end up wanting to say more than the allotted time. So if your video,
go figure.
Exactly. So you get to the end and it cuts it off. You can actually then discard that post. It doesn't just automatically post it. You can review it, and you can actually edit it. You can trim bits off at the start and the end. And
so you're actually recording something and then publishing it.
Yeah, but it's only a very short.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So it's not like you're going live like you would go live on Facebook, and you only have a limited amount of time to go live. It's just you're creating a quick video and uploading it.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
So in theory, it's giving, we'll say, a general maker that has a maker. We'll just go on. Say for me, I've got a making channel. I make stuff and that. You could actually use the stories to do vlogging rather than actually uploading vlogs to your channel. So you could kind of do mini vlogs on your stories, and you could keep that separate to your main video feed, and you can just do it regularly and just use it as a vlog feed.
Yeah, I mean I think that's what a lot of people do on Instagram. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sort of.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I mean, I think this is what it boils down to. If YouTube is offering stories and you're able to do them, I mean, that's neat and that's all that. But I mean, what's the advantage to doing it? Because I'm sure there has to be some. Because you were telling me earlier that when you go to your app on your phone, that you don't only see the people you're subscribed to. YouTube is throwing up people that you may not even be subscribed to that have stories for you to see. So
Yes.
I'm thinking this is probably an opportunity for exposure if you take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think my suspicion is that because not everyone's got stories at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong if you're in the chat and you know way more about this than I do, because I'm still only playing around with it. The criteria for it is, because obviously YouTube has criteria for everything. I think it's 10,000 subs, but they've only actually made it available to about 60% of that 10,000 plus subs. And as a result of that, there aren't as many stories on YouTube at the moment, because it's new as well.
Well, let me interrupt you. Is that because they're kind of like beta testing it, and they plan on opening it up to everybody, or how much? Do you know
I
about
suspect so. I mean, I haven't done a lot of digging around in the YouTube, how YouTube works thing, but I think because there isn't actually a lot of information on where it's going to go down the line, because I don't think anyone really knows. But my suspicion is because not everyone's got it, there's not as many stories on YouTube at the moment as there are videos. And actually from about the 300 channels that I subscribe to, probably 100 of those easily fit that criteria. But I haven't seen stories coming out from, I've only seen stories coming out from Carl Jacobson,
Bobby Duke,
Is this one?
Izzy Swan, and Wood Whisperer.
Pat Lap.
So maybe 5 or 6, or certainly single figures. And because of that, my suspicion is that YouTube is also kind of trying to get you to manage those feeds. So they're putting other things in that they think might be loosely related. So I've had stories appear in my subscription feed from like beauty and makeup and channels and stuff like that, which I've got no interest in, but they're obviously linking the sort of the making DIY makeup.
But that's where
we can tell you're not into it, Richard.
Exactly.
But
the advantage of that is going to be potentially
exposure.
leveraging that situation that's currently there.
Because there's exposure out there that you wouldn't ordinarily. You're getting eyes on things that you do that you wouldn't ordinarily get. Potentially.
Yes, that's my suspicion, because I mean I'm seeing stuff from channels I'm not subscribed to, so it would make sense that other people might see my stuff if they're not subscribed.
Yeah.
There's a part of what Wave Cycle says there as well, that it's the YouTube Facebook rivalry. Instagram gets TV, so YouTube does stories, and so on and so on. So there's a lot of that too.
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest, I don't care what the reason that YouTube has done this is. I really don't. My chain of thought is, how can I use this for my channel?
Yep.
Is it even worth using? And I always like to kind of play around with things to see what's what. And I have to say, like Instagram, I haven't done anything with Instagram TV because I haven't seen anyone else doing anything with Instagram TV that's of any real interest to me. And I'm actually kind of steering away from the Instagram stories because I think a lot of them they've not got the, what's the way to say this without sounding like pretentious or anything like that? They're not beneficial to me like they used to be, if that makes sense. I'm getting less and less from them than I used to. So I'm, because of that, using them less and less.
Right.
So I guess my original question was, have you guys been, I mean, Chris obviously hasn't because he said he hasn't, but have you guys seen them? Have you been watching them? And if you have, what do you like and what did you dislike? That was kind of where I was hoping to take the conversation.
Well, honestly, I didn't know about them until you mentioned them. So I will now go back and look at them. I just generally tend to put on my app on YouTube and click subscriptions and see what my fellow makers are making, and that tends to be what I do. But now that I know that is there, I'm sure I will go back and take a look.
I very rarely watch YouTube on my phone, but I did know about stories. But however, I haven't watched any yet. If I'm totally honest with you, I watched Cole do his first one, I think.
Where he did, yeah, because obviously Cole, when he did his first ones, he was getting used to it because they were all in horizontal, weren't they? Like you'd expect, and then it was, and that's so.
That's just Carl, though. He never knows which way to hold his bloody phone.
Do you not find that a little bit confusing and annoying? It's like, one thing's got to be done this way, one thing's got to be done that way. One platform.
Jamie definitely struggles with that.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Oh, here we go.
Dear. I mean, I'm just looking through the chat to see if anyone else has been using them. And Dave's saying, David Woodbarber's saying he can't even go live on Instagram, but he doesn't know why. Why's that, Dave?
Maybe has that got the same thing with the amount of followers you have, or no? Maybe, I don't know.
I can understand. Well, I can understand YouTube beta testing something like this, and apparently, Richard, this is relatively new, is it not?
Yeah, I think it's only like the last.
Well, I can understand YouTube releasing it to a certain few folks and letting them beta test it to work out the kinks, but Instagram, Facebook, I mean, these are user-friendly platforms that I would think that people should be able to go live on if they want to go live. I don't care if you've got your mother only watching you. You should be able to go live and do something on the platform. Yeah. It shouldn't be restricted to how many followers you have or how many subscribers you have or how many friends you have, depending on what platform we're talking about here. I mean, you should be able to go and do that no matter how you want to do it. If it's an open field, it's an open field. Let's do it. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I just think I understand YouTube's beta testing and, that it may be limited to a few people while they work the kinks out. I mean, that just makes sense. I get it. But once they've done that, why wouldn't they open that up for everybody else? I think they probably will. But I mean, like you said, Richard, I mean, who knows? I mean, it's, and they haven't really, until you mentioned it, Richard, I had never heard of this. And
I mean, were you aware that they had them on the other? I mean, because you're quite heavily into, well, certainly heavily presence-wise on Facebook.
Yeah, I had no idea. I had no clue. No clue. Until you brought it up, I had no clue that YouTube was doing something along the same lines as Instagram. And look, it probably has a lot to do with my phone is sitting right over there, and I use my phone and I turn it on when I need to make a phone call. And then I turn it off. I mean, I don't use my phone the way people use phones today. I don't use it as a walking computer to visit social media platforms. I've never have, and quite honestly, I probably never will because I don't want the distraction.
Sorry, you make a what?
He wears an aluminium hat while he's using his phone.
He wears an aluminum hat.
I wore an aluminum hat, Jamie. I wore an aluminum hat.
Yeah, they're not as good as aluminium ones.
No.
But it's interesting, actually. I'm genuinely surprised, but I'm glad about this because it's very easy to just assume that everybody who is watching you watches with the same habits that you have and uses the same media. But Jim Dockrell's just said he hasn't even got a cell phone.
Well, there are people and guys. I know I get a lot of ribbing for this, and it's fine, and I can take it because I'm a big boy. But I honestly don't want the distraction in my life of another app that I have to walk around with my phone and do texting and looking and I don't. That is just to me I've got other more important things I'd rather be doing than get tied up there. I get tied up enough on Facebook. I get tied up enough on YouTube, and I have a life to live beyond social media and a phone platform. I'm sorry, I do. And I have no interest in getting into Instagram, Snapchat, because I know that if I do, because I know myself very well, I know that if I do, I will get sucked into it. And I will be spending my days doing that, and that's not how I want to spend my time. So,
I'm
I'm
actually
dick about this, but that's how I feel.
I'm not surprised Jim's not got a cell phone either. I mean, they haven't even got colour TV in Canada.
Really,
Yes, yes, they
Really, eh?
Jim. I love you, by the way. And Jamie's an ass. Go ahead.
Just again, looking through the comments, Sam Thomas from Twisted Crafts UK, and hi Sam. I think you're certainly from my point of view a new list.
Is he frozen?
He's sorry.
No, it's all right.
No,
Oh,
no. You froze for a second, Richard. I'm sorry.
Okay. But yeah, Sam Thomas has said in the chat, he keeps getting notifications saying to make a story, and that directs him to the camera icon on his mobile. So it sounds like these. I'd be interested to know what platform that is, but it sounds like the platforms are actively encouraging people to create these kind of media. And I guess it makes sense, because if they promote the instant kind of content creation for their platform, people will then consume it, thereby increasing the number of people staying on their platform. And that, I guess, is ultimately every platform's goal, whether it's
that's
YouTube
the end goal. That's the end goal of every stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We want you to use our platform, and we would love it if you used us exclusively. But if you're not going to, and we know you're not going to, then we're going to try to keep you around as long as we can. And that's basic broadcasting programming. It's just done via the internet. I mean, you keep somebody around for as long as you can because you need it. And platforms, media, I'm going to guess, because I've never been a part of this freaking business aspect of it, but if it's similar to what broadcasting is, the more people they can show that stick around for a quarter hour, the more advertisers will pay for their commercials. So it's just a matter of, it's economics. They want you to hang around.
And actually, and AH Bespoke has made a very interesting comment. And how will stories be affected by Article 13? My suspicion is they will be just blocked completely.
Well, you know what? Why is YouTube launching this now if the end result could be that it's for naught? There must be. I mean, the people who run. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, YouTube is owned by Google. Google is not full of a bunch of stupid people. They know what they're friggin' doing. So there has to be an advantage somewhere, somehow, that they see either a workaround or they're crossing their fingers and hope that certain things don't happen.
Well, it's going to be a very similar sort of thing, isn't it? If you put up a video and it isn't for the European, it's got some. They decide that it's not going to get broadcast because under Article 13, it won't get viewed. But if you are doing even a live or something like that, it's still going out to your subscribers. So the thing with stories is it doesn't just go up there for everybody. It goes up there purely for the people that subscribe to you. So my suspicion is that it'd be fairly easy for them in the back end and all the ones and zeros to put a thing in that doesn't feed that video from that person to that subscriber in that area.
Well, then,
if YouTube can make me see a story from somebody who I'm not subscribed to.
Yes, and you're telling me that these are the people that you're seeing on your feed of people who have stories, and so that's the exposure aspect that we talked about earlier. So. Yeah. So
the flip side of that is if they can do it so you see it and you're not subscribed, they should be able to do it so you don't see it even though you are subscribed.
Oh, okay.
And whenever you make a channel, you have to tell YouTube what region you're in.
My head hurts.
So does mine at this point, Steve. I'm right there with you because I'm going. I mean, obviously, I'm not active on these platforms that use these that use stories. So I know I'm sitting here looking like a dummy because I have no clue about it. But I'm asking what I would think would be obvious answers for somebody who's similar to me, and obviously, I may be in the minority. Okay.
I mean, Red Smith put on there about the time aspect, because Instagram is 24 hours, isn't it, for a story? YouTube is 7 days.
That they keep it around?
Yeah, so if you put a story up on YouTube, it will stay visible for 7 days. And my sort of my own theory around this is if you're doing a lot of production work for your videos, like, I don't know, say you do stop animation, you can't put a video out every day or even every week to a really high standard unless you've got a whole team of people working on the production of that.
Right.
So I think that the stories is a way to sort of keep your presence known and keep things happening quickly and easy and simply between big videos.
Right.
So essentially, you could do a video a month or every 6 weeks and have the stories in between, and they'll stick around for 7 days, rather than Instagram, which is by its very name more instantaneous. I don't know. But nobody's actually said what they like and what they dislike about it, which is interesting.
I'm not familiar, so I have no clue. I mean, go ahead, Steve.
I'm getting the feeling that the chat is probably the same, that maybe a high proportion of them didn't know that it actually existed. And I think that's down to the fault of YouTube not advertising what they're doing enough. It's typical with YouTube when they do something new. The people that are on the YouTube side of it that tend to get told, unless you're subscribed to all the YouTube channels, which you don't want to be, because then you're getting constant updates on stuff that you don't want to know about.
Well, it could also be that if they are truly beta testing this thing, then they don't want to advertise it yet until they know they have it right. So, I mean, I don't know. And Richard obviously knows he has. And you know what, Richard? I may have it. I may have it, and I may have the ability to do it. But like I said, I don't use my phone to access the YouTube's platform, so I have no clue. But maybe because that they haven't finished beta testing it yet, so they haven't said anything about it. I mean,
no, they definitely have said about it. I mean, I'm trying to think actually where I originally saw it, found out about it, or whatever, because I found out about it and then went looking and then found out that I did have it. So if you are listening in the chat and it was a similar thing for you, where did you find out about it? But I think it was something. Was it like Tim Schmoyer's channel, or maybe the Video Creators channel, or maybe it was something like that? But I think they rely quite heavily on basically what we're doing, you know. And we've done the advertising for them in this instance, because the 30-odd people that are listening to us live right now, of those people that didn't know about it, we're talking about it, and they now do know about it, and presumably would then
word of mouth
find out more. That's how every business wants to advertise, isn't it? Word of mouth.
Because it costs them nothing.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, make it out the woods said there's a new creator studio coming too, isn't there? Yeah, next year they're getting rid of the original homepage, as it were, of YouTube, the creator studio, and it's going to be the new version that's available at the moment.
And this is the page for those of you that are video creators. This is when you hit Video Manager on your YouTube channel and you go to your Video Manager. That's what they're talking about. That's the Creator Studio, in case you're not familiar with it.
And it's horrible, the new version. But that's just my personal opinion.
Well, it's difficult. It's not as user intent. It's not as user friendly as what they currently have, and I guess that will probably change over time. But I switched over to beta and tried to find my way to do several different things, and I had to search for quite some time. So it's going to take some getting used to. But yeah, I think that by the new year, isn't it, Steve, that they plan on releasing that?
Yeah,
and that's what everybody's
Yeah, it just says, well, I mean, you get the little blue icon that comes up on the top of your channel a lot, saying that this is going to be faded out in 2019 and tough if you don't like it.
Yeah, because it's going to happen. Sorry.
But that's what Chris has said about it being not user friendly. I think that's the same with everything. It doesn't matter
Oh,
when someone updates an app and you can't now find where your new notification is, it's because you're not used to it.
Well, yeah. Well, let's be honest. I mean, none of us, I don't want to say none of us. A lot of us do not accept that kind of change well, because it takes more work on our part to figure it. It's like Windows 10 when they rolled that out after 7. You know what? I'm still running Windows 7 on my computer because I couldn't be bothered to learn Windows 10. It's like I had the block on my computer put on there because I don't want to deal with it. But I mean, at some point in time, I'm going to have to. It just, when I want to suck it up, I'll suck it up. I don't want them to force it down my throat. That's all. Hey, I'm just a belligerent old man. What do you want?
Here.
Oh, Carl's in the chat now. He says he just did a live on YouTube with us on here. What? I thought he was. I'd only half read the comment. I thought he was going to say that he'd got the.
Carl, you shouldn't have done that because your subscribers are going to take the friggin' jump off the cliff.
Yeah, you're going to lose all credibility now, mate.
Hold on. Hold on. You're missing the big picture here. Carl, what the hell are you doing a live for when we're on? You're supposed to be here watching us.
Oh, he's trying to take away our massive audience. That's his.
What the fuck?
Carl, we love you. Jim said no one subscribes to Carl anyways.
Oh, right, yeah.
But Carl's been doing a lot of YouTube stories. How's that been?
Jamie's got it.
Cacao.
So what is this, Jamie? If you can't beat him, join him? I mean, what are we doing here?
Let's get the...
I'm out in the shop working on another walnut sink right now, listening to Makers International podcast.
Boom.
That's the weirdest thing. So we're doing a podcast where one of our viewers is doing a live talking about us doing the podcast on our podcast.
And then we play it back on the podcast. Yeah, that's redundancy at its best. Thank you, Carl.
We had to give Carl a bit of exposure because he needs a few subs.
Yeah.
Carl. Thanks, Carl. We love you.
Carl. Thanks, Carl.
Cacao.
Cacao army.
Oh, these guys.
Awesome.
You guys are great.
If me trying to explain to everyone, including Chris, how the stories worked and where they are on your mobile didn't melt your brain, trying to work out what just happened there definitely will do.
Will kill you. Yes, it will. You guys want to talk about who you've been watching this week? Because there's been some crazy cool videos put out this week, and it seems like it always goes in a flux. There are weeks where I struggle to find something that I want to go and get excited about, and there are other weeks where you look at it and you go, geez, I don't know what to choose from. And this last week seems to be one of those last weeks. But do you guys...
Yeah, I'll go first because I've got to do my
Jamie's page.
Oh, yeah.
What do you got, man?
The first one I've got to do comes come of way of Dave the Wood hairdresser or barber or whatever.
Oh, the proctologist.
Yeah,
the guy with the crappy handshake, but he's a nice guy.
Yeah. Dave the Wood massager.
Oh dear.
Dave the Wood. It's Dave the Wood barber. Dave, we love you. I'm sorry.
Dave Wood.
Right, he's got a bit of a giveaway going on at the moment over on his channel. All you have to do is go over there and comment on his video, and in the comment section just comment "holy" into the comment section, and the giveaway ends on the 13th of December. Okay, so yeah, it's Dave the Wood Barber. The next two we've already mentioned once, but we'll quickly mention them again. We've obviously got our huge giveaway and the Makers Rhapsody t-shirts still up for sale. The giveaway, you go to the website at makersinternationalpodcast.com, go to the top of the page and click huge giveaway, go to the Gleam app, there's 6 ways to enter, fill it out, you're done. Makers Rhapsody t-shirt, you go to the website, top of the page, click t-shirts and buy one.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that.
And if you don't want to buy one, that's fine. But like I said on Facebook, if you don't buy one, just understand we don't like you anymore. Okay, anyway.
And the person that I am watching, right, Well, as most people already know, is buying gifts is obviously difficult. Well, Chris knows that because he makes these instead of buying them. Tight git.
Yeah, none of them are for him.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, look, buying gifts for anyone this time of the year can be difficult, especially when you're not female and they ask for makeup. And
Bit of polyfiller.
yeah, that's it.
I think the
42
last thing my
gallon-
wife wants me to do is go out and buy her makeup. Oh my God. Anyway, go ahead.
42
What do you want to
gallon
do,
drums
right, Jamie? Rather than actually buy makeup, go and buy her a plasterer's trowel. And they go, there was so much I got confused, so I thought I'd just get you the stuff to put it on with.
Or better still, an airbrush.
Yeah, there you go.
Just go buy her a masonry
Paint
kit. Good luck, honey. Oh, wow. You guys really want to be living on your own by January 1st, don't you? Holy crap.
Well, anyway, our good friend Joe Whittaker from Average Joe's Joinery.
All right,
put out, put out a video to basically help you through picking out a few little gifts, whether it may you be buying yourself a gift or you're buying a gift for that special maker, someone in your life. The video is titled DIY and Make a Christmas Gift Guide of 2018.
All right,
So, yeah.
Joe.
Joe, you're my shout out for this week.
Who
done,
doesn't
Joe.
love Joe? Who doesn't love Joe? Come on, give me a break.
This year, this time of year, I must think seen probably half a dozen of those gifts for makers videos, and Joe's was by far the best. But it still fell into Chris's little heffalump trap with
Yeah, they never
videos
mentioned that one thing.
Yeah.
the mind boggles.
That's the. Did you guys not think that a woodworker might want some wood?
Hey.
I'm just throwing that out there. It's like, hello. I mean, there was a time when I was poor, when I didn't have a lot of money and I had limited tools. Where if my wife had hit me with a board of Babinga, I would have loved her to death. But anyway. So I mean, woodworkers. What do you get them? Let me think. Wood. Yeah, that would work. Anyway, what do you got, Richard?
Me? Well, mine's actually not a maker video. It's just a hilarious film that I watched. I don't know where it came from in my feed or why it appeared, but it's absolutely hysterical. I laughed, and it's called If Monopoly Were Real. I'll leave it at that. Just take my word. It's hilarious. The link's in the description, particularly this time of year because everyone playing Monopoly around Christmas time after dinner and all the rest of it and the problems that it entails. Very funny. Go and watch it.
You
Does
play
it end up in
Monopoly?
a scrap?
Is Monopoly now the new Christmas thing? I mean, or is that just happening at your house?
Well, no, I mean, we do. We always do play Monopoly at the end of the year. But you know what happens? People get together. You start playing Monopoly. There's always a fight. There's always like rules coming out of nowhere, and people with fake notes stuffed down their sock and all the rest of it.
Right.
It's just very funny.
And that's awesome. And that's not something we've gotten into, but you know what? I'll give that a try this year, Richard, because that sounds like fun. And wave cycles, you're absolutely right. By my logic, if you're a metal worker, then somebody buying you some decent steel is the same logic. All right, whatever. Steve, what do you got, buddy?
I have a channel called Casual DIY. Very cool, does lots of bits and bobs, but this particular video is wood and epoxy Christmas decorations, and it's scrolling, so Richard will love this. He scrolls some discs of lumber or wood, and then he scrolls out the shape of snowflakes or reindeer or Christmas trees or whatever, and then he fills those shapes with resin, lets them set, sands them down, and put a finish on them, and they're a lovely little tree decoration. But it's a really neat, different kind of idea. I haven't seen it. It might be an old technique, but I've not seen it done before. And he mixes different color resins and stuff and gets better, nice different effects and stuff. So yeah, it's a cool video. Casual DIY.
I think
cool.
he actually gives away the free plans as well and templates.
Yes,
Video.
there's free plans and stuff for doing those little projects as well there. So yeah, down in the description, click on that and away you go if you are a scroller like Richard.
And you know what? Richard's road trip videos I've watched because you've released two of them now. You released the one with Jamie. You released the one with Soph.
And
Yeah.
you've been scrolling in both of them.
I just want to point out, yeah, exactly, Richard, you're scrolling in both of them, so it's going to be a hard thing for you to avoid from here on out.
Well, something that you guys don't know, but not only
there's
have
no
I
excuse
got
for this. We've
not
seen
only have I got scroll saw videos on my channel, I've got me scroll sawing in my channel's trailer, and I've just been reminded by Steve and Jamie because I've got a free downloadable scroll saw pattern on my website as well. So doesn't mean
What is it? The Brain Fizz logo?
So,
no, it's not. It's a Christmas decoration. It's actually a Christmas decoration that.
Jamie would be perfectly in his right to look at you and go, "So where's all the hate coming from?" I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, you can't. It's like when kids are little and they don't like Brussels sprouts. It's like, you've never tried Brussels sprouts. How can you hate them? Well, I have tried scroll sawing, and there you go.
You must have liked it.
I happen to hate it, but I do it a lot. Okay. Well, then Richard, then we're all sorry for you. So on three, everybody have a pity party. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Whatever.
I knew one of you would do that.
My shout out this weekend goes to David Bishop. If you haven't watched David Bishop's video, he made a pretty creative squirrel feeder that he did a video on. And honestly, I cracked up throughout the whole thing. You should check it out because he actually talks like a squirrel throughout the entire thing. He sped up his vocal track as he was doing it. So if you haven't seen David Bishop's video on how to do make a creative squirrel feeder, go check out David Bishop, because that was a great video. And David, thank you for making me laugh, because that was fun.
For those of you that are in the UK and Ireland, a squirrel is a squirrel. A squirrel. A squirrel.
Aluminum.
Not squirrel.
Aluminium.
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Oh, I like a squirrel. It's a handy snack.
Wow. Now we're talking about the Deep South. And I went out and got me some dinner tonight. What'd you get? I got me some squirrel. I got me some squirrel. Oh, man.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
All right, wrap it up, Richard.
A lot of people call it roadkill.
Well, that's also food in the
Or
South.
dinner.
It depends on how fresh it is, if they'll cook it.
Absolutely. So, does that wrap the show up? I do not actually know. I think we've got there. As soon as Steve started talking about squirrels, I zoned out.
No, we're done. We're done. We're good.
Excellent. Well, look at that. We're going to finish on. Did we start on time?
We did.
Started on time. What the heck is going on here? Wow. Makes for a nice, easy, quick listen this week. So if you are still listening, thank you very much. If you're not, we're going to say what we like about you. Possibly in the free We Don't Do Patreon after party that anyone can join as long as they're watching us live on YouTube after we stop broadcast. And if you're listening to us live on YouTube, you might stick around. But who knows? Who cares?
Yeah.
That's about all I've got to say this week. So if you are still listening, fantastic. Thanks for listening. You take care.
Have a great week. Get your Christmas decorations up. All right. See you.
Bye.
Laters.